Welcome into another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast. On today's episode, we've got a What's Poppin' edition of the show for you, where we're going to get into all the movie news around the industry. We're going to talk about the biggest Memorial Day weekend ever that happened at the box office this weekend. We're also going to invite our pal Stefano in to talk about some recent releases from A24, including Bring Her Back and the new Tim Robinson film, Friendship. And then we're going to wrap it up by taking a look at June movie releases in theaters and saying what we're most excited for. It's going to be a great episode. We're so glad you're here. Let's get into it.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kurt.
Thank you so much for being here with us on another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast. With me, as always, is Kirk.
Hello, hello.
And I am Cam, and we are here talking movie news, which is something we have not done in forever. We've been so buried in movie reviews, which is a good thing. We like to review movies, and we have many more coming up. In fact, we just saw the new Wes Anderson film, The Phoenician Scheme, this evening, so we're going to be recording a review for that. That'll be coming very, very soon. But today, we're here to talk about what's going on in the movie industry. Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the movies this weekend? Be honest.
No.
I didn't either. But you know who else? Who did?
Everyone
else. Everyone else. Yeah, it just so happened that we had already seen Mission Impossible last weekend, which, by the way, we have a spoiler-free review of that movie, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, that's on our YouTube channel right now and podcast feed. And so there wasn't any reason to go, which...
Wait a second. There wasn't any other reason to go to the movie theater this weekend?
I'm getting there. To answer your question, yes, there was not any other reason to go to the movie theater, but many people happen to disagree with me on that, Kirk. And they went in droves to see Lilo and Stitch.
The original
remake.
The live action
Yes,
remake?
the live action remake.
Oh, dear.
It scored an outrageous $182 million just domestically, which that is a 4-day weekend total, but still that's like a daily average of like $45 million a day, like nearly $50 million a day. That's crazy. It's domestic opening day, Friday. It did $55 million on that day alone.
Nope.
These are crazy numbers.
Do
you
have a Lilo and Stitch behind us?
Bro. Who are you talking to? No.
It's banned from the wall of Funko Pops.
Listen, and I don't want to trigger anybody because I know that Stitch is like, people love Lilo and Stitch, and that's great. I think that's great. I want to be clear about that. I am not a fan, never really have been, but I think it's fine to. I don't think the original movie is offensive. I don't like Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my kind of character. I don't really like the way he's animated. I don't really like the things that he does. I don't like his stupid voice. I don't like any of it. I don't really enjoy it. I just don't. But lots of people do, and that's great.
Yeah.
What I do find absolutely reprehensible, though, is live action remakes. I hate them. I hate them so hard. I don't know how to hate anything more than I hate live action remakes. Is it weird how much I hate live action remakes? Be honest with me.
No, I love your passion. I mean, that's where your heart is. So follow your heart.
So let me be honest. There is a reason. I feel like they are anti-art, because what a live action remake tells me is that you feel like animation is not a acceptable medium for a movie. That for a movie to be real, it has to be live action.
Mm-hmm.
So you're either saying that, or you're saying we can do this better than the original animated movie, which, if true, great. I think Pete's Dragon is sort of the poster boy for that, whereas the original movie, pretty weird, pretty not good in my opinion.
Dark.
Very strange. Weird. The David Lowery Pete's Dragon with Bryce Dallas Howard, totally passable. Makes sense as a live action movie. Scale makes sense, etc. There are cases for it, but by and large, what they've done with these things is ruin classic after classic, in my opinion. Little Mermaid, terrible. Beauty and the Beast, okay, but the original's a masterpiece.
Right.
Lion King, the original's a masterpiece. The new one, I did not like. I mean, the list goes on and on. Aladdin, all of them, they're all just so much worse. I've stopped seeing them completely.
Mhm.
I won't go. I didn't see Snow White, and I'm not going to see Lilo and Stitch. And but a lot of people did.
They did.
So like, where are you at on this?
They did. You know, I really don't like the animated film of Lilo and Stitch like at all.
Yeah.
I get super bored. I fall asleep pretty much instantly. I'm just super bored by it.
I think
When
it's safe to say you and I are in the minority on that one.
I think so too. I really think, man, when I walk around Disney World and Disneyland, the amount of Stitch Mickey ears that are
Tons.
on people's heads, it's insane.
Dude,
It's
the amount of Stitch tattoos I've seen is insane.
what?
Oh yeah.
No.
Dude, I couldn't even count. I couldn't count on two hands the number of Stitch tattoos I've seen. I've probably seen 20 plus.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. No, I'm
And
dead serious.
Oh, and to think like where they are too. Like, are you okay? Do you need to see someone about?
The biggest one I've ever seen was on someone's calf, like the back of their calf.
Oh man,
Just full Stitch.
so instead of like Chinese symbols,
Yeah.
like people used to do in the early 2000s, it's just Stitch.
It's just Stitch.
Oh, that's awful. That's
Yeah.
really, really terrible. So I had a lot of hope that the live action would be good. I wanted it to be good because I liked the trailer, honestly, and I was like, "This is what's going to make me finally be a Lilo and Stitch fan." I'll still not like the animated movie, but maybe this is it. And I'm never going to see it. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough. But here's my question. And this, there's been a lot of criticism. It's not just me. Other people don't like the live action remakes.
Mhm.
A lot of people feel like they tarnished the original. And there's a lot of people who feel kind of indifferent toward them. And they're like, if my kids want to go see it, I'll take them to go see it. And for what it's worth, like, I'm going to go see the live action How to Train Your Dragon remake
Yeah.
because my kids will be interested in that. But like, I wouldn't normally go do that. But hey, like, I see why people do it and I see why some people feel indifferent. I don't feel indifferent towards it. But here's my question. Does this weekend prove that we need them? That the theater industry needs the live action remakes? Because if you remember, like 2019, right before the world went crazy,
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin released that year, same year as Avengers Endgame, and it did $1 billion. It did $1 billion.
I hate that.
Lilo and Stitch is going to do $1 billion probably. It's done 340 in 1 week.
Well, if that's how the Hollywood elites need to launder their money, then so be it. Let us have more live action movies.
I know, I'm kind of torn. I'm like, well, I would like theaters to exist.
Yes.
And here's the reality, and this is what no, like, quote unquote hardcore film nerd, film snob, whatever, wants to hear. The normals, the casuals, they're the people who shoulder the film industry.
Mhm.
Like, it can't go without them. You need those guys showing up to movies.
Yeah.
You need them showing up. That's why Marvel was such a big deal, because it appealed to everyone, and they tapped into that mainstream casual audience and turned it into a ginormous cash cow.
Mhm.
You need it. And so if this is the vehicle by which those people come to the theaters, then I'm okay with it, I guess. But what's also encouraging to me from this weekend was that Mission Impossible opened to 79 million.
That's great.
And that was the best ever for a Mission Impossible movie. After, if you remember, Dead Reckoning was a stinker in the box office, did really bad.
Yes, opened right after some other big movies.
Yeah, it did. I could never remember. We literally had this exact point on a different podcast episode, and I couldn't remember it then. And somebody commented on YouTube. They were like, it was this movie, and I was like,
my friend Guillermo, he talks to me about movies every week, and he's like, "Hey man, I've told you 3 times. It's because of this movie that released and this movie that released. Remember it." That's for you, Guillermo. Hope you enjoy watching.
But
this week.
it's true. It's true. There were movies. We don't know what they are, but there were.
Was it Avatar? What was it?
No.
We gotta
Avatar
figure it
is a
out.
late year
Oh no,
release.
I'm so sad. My mind is melting right now.
It's bad. It's bad. It's not good.
Either way, if those movies, if the live action movies gives us movies like Sinners, then so be it. Make all the live action movies you want. Redo the whole Disney catalog for all I care.
Sure.
Toy Story live action. Let's go. I know it's Pixar.
I just almost
I know it's
dry-heaved.
Pixar.
Yeah, that was horrible. Don't ever say that again. Toy Story live action. But I do wonder, like, so if you look at the box office for this weekend, my other question for you is, we had 5 movies do double-digit millions: Sinners, Thunderbolts, Final Destination, in addition to Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible.
Mhm.
So the total gross was like $322 million domestically. Huge weekend, biggest Memorial Day ever, huge. We are now up year over year domestic box office 23% over 2024. Now we have not hit the main core of that. So if you look at like the weekly averages, 2025 is trailing. We're averaging like $10 million a week this year versus 12 million last year.
Okay.
But the summer should close that gap with,
Oh, yeah.
with like Fantastic Four and Superman, things like that.
Easily.
But does this mean that 2025 really is going to be the year that saves the theater industry?
Yeah, I hope it is.
Do you feel it?
I really hope it is. It definitely, if you would have told me this information in February, I would have laughed in your face because there were such terrible movies releasing for the first entire quarter of this year.
Yeah.
And now we're on the cusp of June, and only recently have our scores bumped up to 7s and higher. It was a very dark, long winter.
It was for sure.
Coming out of 2024. So I do think it is. I think this is going to be a much more exciting year when we get to Oscar season. I think it's going to be more exciting. Like last year, I'm like, this is the off year. Like every other year is a good film year. Last year, meh. But now things are ramping up. We're really seeing some good projects and things come together. And all the better that if we can have people butts and seats in those movie theaters, then when these things get nominated and with the Oscars requiring people to watch those movies, everyone's going to be able to talk about these movies all around. And that's the most exciting thing about it. It's like, hey, did you see this movie? Yeah, I did. What'd you think? That's the best part of all of this.
Yeah. I agree. I do feel like I know people were really wary about, like, everybody's been hyped about 2025. All the theater owners were hyped about 2025, but then 2024 was pretty bad overall in terms of box office. Not necessarily, I mean, it was a bad year for film in general, but in terms of box office, it was really bad. And so everybody's been kind of cautiously optimistic, but I think now it kind of feels like, hey, we might be playing with house money because you've still got Superman, you've still got a Jurassic tentpole movie that's coming out, which those always do well. They always do great. And then you've got Fantastic Four. And that's your summer lineup. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I think we're on the right track.
It's going to be great.
We're on the right track. But before we start digging into those summer movies, we want to toss it to a segment that we call Floor 24. We're going to dig into some of the recent releases. This segment will kind of be about the less mainstream type movies. There's still big movies from big distributors like A24, who's obviously increasing in acclaim. You'll see us talk about movies from Focus Features and Searchlight and things like that in this segment. But for today, we're going to talk with Stefano about 2 new A24 movies, mostly Bring Her Back, which releases in theaters this weekend, May 30th, and then also Friendship, starring Tim Robinson. So let's go to this new segment, Floor 24. Now we are bringing back a segment that I think we've only done one time. We had grand ambitions for this segment to do it all the time, and I think that we will. I think that we will going forward. And that segment is called Floor 24. So the idea behind it is we've got our buddy Stefano here. Stefano, welcome.
Hi, gentlemen.
And a little peek behind the curtain of our very professional operation, as you can probably tell. Is that we get invited to a lot of movie screenings now, which is something that we didn't used to get, and now we do, and it's awesome. And we can't go to all of those, all 3 of us, because this is part-time for all of us for now. And so we divide and conquer. And a lot of times what it ends up being is that Kirk and I end up going to the bigger studio tentpole type movies so that we can review them on the podcast. And Stefano gets to go to the really good movies.
Yes.
That's kind of how I view it.
Well, Stefano goes to all the scary movies as well.
That's true.
Every time I'm going to pee my pants, I say, Cam, can you put on the group chat?
Can we call in Stefano for this one? Yeah, that's true.
It's a specialty.
It has kind of worked out that way, but I am often jealous of you, Stefano, of all the cool movies that you get to see, and I try to tag along as often as possible.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, thank you for letting me do it. It's been a blast so far.
Yes, it is. It has been great. And Stefano is putting out all kinds of amazing content on our website, popcorn4breakfast.com. And we call this segment Floor 24 because more often than not, a certain studio tends to be featured in the types of screenings that or I guess they're a distributor kind of studio. I don't know, one of those things. They're kind of both. They're a production company and a distributor. But
Mhm.
anyway, they tend to be featured more often than not, I would say, these days. They have just a ton of output, and that's A24. And one of the movies I want to talk to you about today, Stefano, probably the main movie we're going to talk about, is one that's releasing in theaters this weekend, right? Friday, May 30th. And that's Bring Her Back. And this is from the Filippo brothers, who are famous for their YouTube channel, Raka Raka, which was like a horror comedy thing. But then they also jumped onto the scene as major film directors with Talk to Me, back in 2022, and this is their follow up to that movie. So, Stefano, what can you tell us about this? I literally know nothing about it.
Same.
Yeah, there's not much, that you can say without giving too much away. But in a nutshell, we have a brother and a sister who are taken on by a foster mother because of a loss of a parent, which happens early on in the film. So no spoiler there. But it's basically revolves around their experience with this foster mom and everything that comes with it. That's really all there is to say. That's kind of setting the scene for what is to follow. And I'll say it's one of those movies where the majority of it takes place in one setting. So a lot of it takes place in a pretty standard house. It's not your spooky, scary house. It's kind of a nice house, big windows, pretty nice kitchen, things like that. But yeah, that's where most of the excitement takes place.
Did it look like The Glass House with Lily Sobieski back from 2002? Do you recall that film?
I do.
Stefano?
I do. It does
Yeah.
not. It does
Oh,
not.
okay. Just wanted to throw that out there. Just wanted to name
Just
drop
wanted to name drop that one.
The Glass House with Lily Sobieski.
Nice. Probably the last name drop they've gotten in the last 15 years. So thanks for that, Kirk. I do want to ask, because I feel like that what you're saying about the kind of setting is similar to Talk to Me, in that Talk to Me, a lot of times the settings that they're in doesn't like feel like a horror movie to me. It feels like very, I don't know. It felt like very suburban, very normal. Like it didn't feel overly horror. Would you say that, like, so I was reading today, actually discussing film, put on out a tweet earlier this evening, that the movies were kind of concepted and developed at the same time, Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. Are there
Mhm.
a lot of similarities between the two, Stefano?
I'd say with the main point of stress in both movies, yes, there's so much similar. And I was going to kind of bring that up is they definitely feel like companion pieces. They're both very much about grief and about the loss of a parent. So them both revolving around that in similar settings, affecting people the same age that we saw in Talk to Me and also in this movie. So there's definitely a lot of similarities in that regard.
Awesome.
Do you think we're gonna get like an M. Night Shyamalan surprise trilogy out of this?
Oh, good
Like,
question.
Unbreakable, Glass,
Glass.
Split, or
Yeah. Yeah,
whatever.
that's right.
Reverse that, Split, Glass. Think we're gonna get that out of these guys?
Honestly, I could see a grief trilogy from the Filippo brothers.
Okay.
But who's to say? We'll see how successful this one is. Obviously, it's hard. It's a hard sell. When you're like, we have 2 hours of a lot of sad stuff, and some horror around it. It's a pretty hard sell, but a lot of it makes a really good movie. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I felt like with Talk to Me, even with the themes, first of all, I was surprised by how like thematically rich that movie was. I felt like there was a lot of things kind of delved into there. Obviously, the core thing sort of being grief and the loss of a loved one and things like that. Um, but I felt like there was just a lot to dig into and lots that you could probably get out of it for multiple viewings. So I want to kind of turn it over to you on Bring Her Back, and just let us know, like, what did you like, what did you not like, how would you like? I know you like Talk to Me a lot. Would you say that this one was preferred or not? Like, what are all your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, totally. So, like I was saying before, there are definitely a lot of similarities to it. A lot of the themes, a lot of the struggles that are dealt with, character ages as well. But there were differences in I guess the understanding of kind of what's going on. So, what I appreciate, but also something that I actually wish I had more info on was surrounding the entity or whatever it is about this movie Bring Her Back. So in Talk to Me, there's a little more explaining and understanding, but in a way that's not in your face. It doesn't explain everything away to where you're like, duh. It doesn't dumb anything down, which I appreciate that the Filippo brothers have brought to both of their movies. With Bring Her Back, I think they take that to another level of you really don't know what really is going on here, and not much is really explained in regard to that. So some of it can be admired, but some of it can be a little frustrating when, I found myself, and I think I'll talk about the positives in a bit, but the main hesitancy I had with it was I found myself questioning things I shouldn't be questioning while things were going on. Like, how did this end up here? Why did this character do this? And what's the purpose of this? Which can be frustrating. And usually it's a nitpick when someone is just trying to, pick apart a movie. I know when Jordan Peele's Us came out, which I love, by the way, people were like, well, how can rabbits live underground without food for so it's like that's not the right type of question to be asking.
Right.
But I found myself asking not ridiculous questions like that, but a few questions throughout Bring Her Back that left me scratching my head a little bit. With that being said, I'll say I absolutely love the way these two guys make films. They're beautiful, they're moody, they're shot well, they're edited well, and they bring so much out of their actors. There's so much physicality that's required for both Bring Her Back and, of course, in Talk to Me. In Bring Her Back, there are some of the most visceral, gross, crazy scenes that I've seen in a long time. It's gory, right? I can't say that it was necessarily a scary movie, right? Absolutely a horror movie, but not the most scary. It's more of that long-standing dread, a lot of really tough scenes to watch, and a lot of physicality, and it can be pretty horrifying for those reasons. But a lot to like, some amazing practical effects, which really jumped out. Awesome acting. Sally Hawkins was amazing. And you can kind of get the gist kind of from the trailers, but Sally Hawkins is usually I ran into this one. It usually has a happy-go-lucky personality in her movies. But in this, she takes on a little more of a dramatic, scary role in a way. Very subtly, really good performances. It's a young cast too. Our two leads in it, Billy Barrett and oh my gosh, Sora Wong. Two super young actors do an amazing job, play off of each other so much, and it makes it all just the more sad, which you'll see once you watch it.
Oh man, there's a lot there that's definitely piquing my interest. The real question, though, I think, and Kirk probably has the same one.
I do.
Can we watch it? Will we pee our pants? Are we going to be too scared?
I don't think so. I think if you're, there are no instances of like hiding behind your hands type situations.
Okay.
It's not scary in that way. It's scary in the sense that the topics are scary, and sad, and it's not for the super squeamish. I'll say it's not the most, writhe around in your seat, but there's, the camera doesn't pull away, when you think that something gross might happen on screen. It definitely locks in, stays on there, and makes you watch every second of it. So
yeah, I don't believe him at all. I think he is trying to trick us. He lost his lie a little bit there at the end, as you heard him say, like, that camera is right on you as they peel the toenails and they poke you in the eye. You lost it there, Stefano. There's not a chance in this world I'm seeing this movie.
Cam, if you saw Talk to Me, Cam, you'd have no problem.
Okay, yeah. I'm not squeamish. I can deal with the gore. It's the I don't know. I don't want to have to look over my shoulder, whenever I'm walking home.
No,
and
I don't like
because
that.
Cam walks home often.
I walk home very often in my suburban neighborhood.
In his remote work from home job.
The film is also very much in the daytime almost the entire time. So
good.
No looking over shoulders, just a pretty creepy kid.
And I will also try to watch it in the daytime unless I get a chance to go see it in theaters, which I hope I do. Great to hear that. Do you have a score by chance?
I do have a score.
Okay, I got it.
there was a lot of good, and I would recommend it definitely, especially if you like Talk to Me and you like horror movies, go see it in theaters. I have a 7.6 on this.
Wow, that's
So
good.
a lot of the hesitancies brought it down, but it's definitely one that I'm really eager to rewatch to make sure that I wasn't being too critical on some of the issues I had,
Yep.
because at the end of the day, it was still so well made, and it takes a lot of guts to make a horror movie that's just kind of, it's a drama as well. It doesn't really have all of the traits of a, movie theater horror movie, right? It takes a little bit to get to its climax, but there's really a lot of good stuff in it though too.
I love it.
Neat.
I love it. That's a good score. Before we let you go, I do want to ask you about another A24 film that just released in theaters, I think this last weekend, the
Last
23rd.
weekend. Mhm.
Friendship, which I know, like, I read your blog and you had glowing thoughts for that movie. So my question for you is Tim Robinson gonna save the comedy genre?
Ooh.
I hope so. I know
Yeah.
he's not. I know he's not for everybody, but I've seen it too many times already that I'm proud to admit. I have seen it 3 times already.
Ooh, I
Saw
love
this,
it.
went to the screening, and then saw it another two, and I saw it with my brother last weekend. So I think what I'm noticing is, obviously, yes, if you like Tim Robinson and like have seen his stuff before, you'll obviously like really enjoy it and love it. If you haven't, it's a coin flip. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went to these screenings, I made sure to pay attention to that. And this most recent time I went, and also it's doing really well. Like every screening I've been to has been like pretty packed, so that's been
Oh, good.
exciting. But like I had this older couple next to me at my latest screening. I was like, these folks are going to walk out. And shame on me, because the man next to me was just cackling the whole time. Like he had no idea what he was in for, and he absolutely loved it. And I think, there's a world where Tim Robinson can kind of just do Tim Robinson things, right? In
Mhm.
in whatever movie he's in. And what was, you saw that with, the Will Ferrells and Adam Sandlers, like, and Seth Rogen's, all these, they're always themselves, they're, and that's what you come to expect. So I can see that with him. And he didn't write this movie. And obviously he had a hand in, the writing of it, maybe some improvisation as well.
Yeah.
But it's very much a Tim Robinson character, which is incredible. So can't
Man.
recommend it enough. It's
It
a good
warms my
time.
heart. It warms my heart. I want comedies to come back. I want there to be big summer comedy films.
Only if they're good, man. Only if they're good.
Well, yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
yeah.
many bad
think
comedies. Oh,
What
It's true.
stresses me out, and I think, like I mentioned in my blog, like I can count on two hands how many I've seen in the last 5 years, is a lot of the comedies that also have been coming out are, there's a little too much, how do I, like, there's a lot of action. Like it's like
Mm,
there's always some sort of endeavor, right? Where
yes.
like they're like in a car chase somehow,
yeah.
or there's something like that. It's
Yeah,
always
like
like a dual comedy, and it's like that kind of instance. This just is like takes place in suburbia and not too much, just is what it is, and it's
yeah.
it's great
I
for
think
it.
I think you're referencing both The Fall Guy and Novocaine in that single sentence right there.
Sure, yeah, those are two things I can think of, and I'm thinking of I don't know, like
The Melissa
uh,
McCarthy brand of comedy.
yes, exactly, bingo.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed Spy at least, but a lot of those are just kind of that. Like I don't like the climax of a comedy movie to be something like
A big action set
bombastic.
piece.
Which
Yeah.
I absolutely adore the movie Game Night, but the only hesitancy I have with that one is kind of where it goes towards the
Mm.
end of, no spoilers, but
Yeah, I mean, there's one I've not seen, but I know
you haven't
everybody.
seen Game Night?
I have not seen Game Night.
What does Jesse Plemons say? He says
How could that be profitable for Frito Lay?
for free
Yes.
Lay.
Yeah, I've seen the clips. I've seen probably every funny clip from that movie, but I have not
It's
seen the movie.
it's great.
It's a great time. It's really a great time.
Awesome. And it's always a great time when Stefano stops by to share his thoughts on all of the cool movies that we don't get to see, but we will see them. We just didn't get to go to the free screening. But Stefano, we appreciate you. We will catch you next time.
And now we have to press the eject button. Stefano,
Ejectocito, cuz.
say who you love the most right now. 3, 2, 1.
Tim Robinson.
There you go. Love it. See ya.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
awesome. That was a good discussion with Stefano that we got to have about those movies. Always love whenever he is able to share his insights with us because he's so wise. He's wise beyond his years, and he's got great takes. And I'm jealous of him. Like I said in the segment, I'm very jealous of the movies that he's gotten to see. I haven't gotten to see either of those yet, and I'm ready. I'm chomping at the bit.
I'm jealous of the Blink 182 shirt he had on.
Yes,
that segment.
That's a good one. It's a good one. Speaking of things that we're chomping at the bit to see, things we have not seen yet. June releases. June is like a sneaky. I know we're already into like the summer movie situation. Mission Impossible really felt like the kind of kicking off of that for me. But we've got some heavy hitters coming in June. If you look at the upcoming slate, we've got How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake. We got Ballerina, which, okay, sidebar. They're calling that movie From the World of John Wick Ballerina or something like that on all of the things. And I'm like, come on. We're not, are we going to like Birds of Prey this thing?
They are.
Just call it Ballerina or just call it like Ballerina, a John Wick movie or something. Like, I don't know. Like go the Glass Onion, a Knives Out movie, even though I hate that. And I'm sure Ryan Johnson hates that too. Anyway, there's other big movies coming out. We've got, speaking of A24, Materialists is coming out this month. We've got F1. Did I already say that one?
I don't know.
No, I haven't said F1. It comes out at the end of the month, 28 years later, which I think Fandango had 28 years later as like one of the top, maybe even the very top of most anticipated movies to come out this year. And then, of course, the movie that we saw this evening, The Phoenician Scheme from Wes Anderson. So we'll have a review of that coming your way. But Kirk, looking at this June slate, I want you to give me one movie that you're most excited about above all. And we'll rule out The Phoenician Scheme because we don't want to. We've already seen it. We don't want to spoil anything there. But yeah, what's of the movies that you have not seen that are releasing in June? What's the one that you're like, I gotta see this?
Well, if you know me. I love emotionally devastating movies.
Yes,
I do. I want them to. I want to start that movie, and I want to be sucked in to the world of the characters with great acting and a great atmosphere. And I want you to absolutely ruin my life or my view of it, and to open up my mind to new perspectives. And I think that's going to be a movie called The Life of Chuck.
Ooh.
And surprisingly enough, this is a film adaptation of a Stephen King novella of the same name. If you're thinking, oh, if it's going to be horror, it's going to be tense, it's going to be scary. It's not. It's absolutely not. I remind you that another little novella that Stephen King wrote was called The Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
And this is going to be something that people have already that got to see it at early festivals last fall or this spring already, that they say, oh my goodness, no one is ready for how emotionally impactful this is. And I'm ready for a life-changing movie straight from Stephen King himself.
That is not at all where I was expecting you to go.
Did you think Megan 2.0 was going to be my pick?
No, though I think both of us were pretty high on Megan.
We were
the original. So I've already seen a screening invite in our upcoming that we're going to get to go check that one out. So that'll be good. But I just thought you'd pick one of the big budget, big studio pictures, and you did not. So color me surprised. That's good on you. I'm going to go. So this is complicated things for me now because now I have so many options to choose from. But I'll tell you where I'm going to go, and it might surprise you. I'm going to go with F1.
Oh.
I'm most excited for F1, and here's the thing about it. Obviously, it's Formula One, which is a massive phenomenon. I don't know if you've been following it, but over the last few years, Formula One's always been a thing. It's always been considered like the pinnacle of racing, but now it's like a huge worldwide, like America has caught on and is like, yes, F1. There were all these great shows on Netflix, or there was one big docu-series type show on Netflix, like the F1 Path to or Drive to Survive or something. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, a bunch of people got into it. I obviously did not get into it because I would have known the name of the show. But what I'm really interested to see is, first of all, this is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who's done some amazing things. Most notably, I would say Top Gun Maverick was a big one for him. He also did Tron Legacy. I'm
in.
Which I know you're a huge fan of. But he also did a movie that I hated, but you loved, Spiderhead.
Oh, I did like Spiderhead. A lot of people gave that movie hate. I think it's fun.
So maybe you should be the one picking F1, Kirk. No, I don't know. But I do feel like based on the way that they approached Top Gun Maverick gives me a lot of confidence for how they'll approach F1. And just looking at the trailer and the kinds of shots that they got, it looks really exciting, looks really exhilarating. I love Brad Pitt. He's the bomb. Almost always a good performance whenever he's on the screen. And it's got a $250 million budget. $250 million, which I mean, I think means that like the equipment you're seeing, all the stuff that they're doing is legit. Wow. No idea how they're going to make money. This is an Apple. So Apple fronted this one.
Oh no.
And so they're doing a theatrical run and then they're going to bring it to Apple TV Plus probably after a couple of weeks. No idea how they're going to make money on a $250 million budget, but maybe that F1 fan base that's so big now and that we've got all these like huge F1 events happening in America now that people are going, like tons and tons of people are going, maybe that crowd shows up. So I'm interested to watch the box office of it, but I'm also interested for the film itself.
Maybe with the success of this, the normal people, the F1 fans, will demand a physical copy of the movie, which Apple has yet to release. Best Picture winner Coda on DVD and several other decent films that should be on DVD.
All the physical media goblins are planting their flags against Apple. They're like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. They should definitely do that. They need to like, or at least like reach an agreement with the Criterion Collection or something like that.
Well, listen, Matt Damon pitched his shot on Hot Ones. You know, he was asked about, you know, how movies make their money back, right? And that was definitely the box office was wave 1, DVDs was wave 2, and now that's completely gone. So he stated it, and they're not listening. But hopefully F1 gets a big enough crowd that this is what brings them back.
Maybe it will. Well, those are the 2 movies that we are most excited for this month in June. Let us know what movie you're most excited for. Maybe it's Elio. Is anybody excited about Elio? I don't know.
I'd like to pause and ask them in like a Blue's Clues style.
Yeah.
Oh, hi there.
That's a great pick.
What movie are you looking forward to?
We should start incorporating that.
Pause.
I agree. We'll workshop that. That'll be good. But definitely let us know in the comments what movie you're looking forward to in June. And otherwise, that is the end of our episode. We thank you guys so much for joining us. As a reminder, you can always go to popcorn4breakfast.com to check out all the latest blogs from our buddy Stefano and ourselves. All of the latest anything from Popcorn for Breakfast is going to be on that website. Of course, you can also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Subscribe to us on YouTube, which we highly recommend. And otherwise, thank you for being here. We want to give a special thanks to our title sponsor, St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings, our executive producer, Ryan, and of course, all of you. And we will see you next time.
Talk to you then.